From Mamma Mia, welcome to the Spills Watch Party, where we unpack the biggest shows that the entire world is talking about. My name is Manisha Iswaran. I'm the executive producer of Mamma Mia's entertainment podcast, The Spill, as well as this podcast, Watch Party, and I have never been more excited than what we're going to talk about today because we are getting into Emily in Paris, and it's honestly one of my favorite shows of all time. And luckily, I'm joined by two fellow superfans and experts of the show.
I'm Tina Burke. I'm Mamma Mia's pop culture and social editor, which means I spend all of my time watching TV shows, scrolling on TikTok, and just really being in that zeitgeist. And thankfully, I'm a massive fan of Emily in Paris too.
And I'm Chelsea Hoy, Mamma Mia's entertainment producer. And like Tina, I also spend all my time watching movies, TV, and talking about pop culture. And Emily in Paris is my absolute favorite. So I'm very excited.
I feel like a lot of spiraling is going to go down today.
100%.
Because we've really been waiting a long time for this, more than a year. We're just days away from Emily in Paris season 5 dropping, and that's going to be 10 fresh episodes of Emily Cooper goodness on the 18th of December. We're going to be covering them here in depth in this podcast. But first, we're going to get you caught up on everything you need to know. You might remember Emily left Paris to somewhere a little bit more Italian. So as long as you're up to date with that, you're safe. But if you aren't and you want to avoid spoilers, just make sure you go finish up and then come back for your pre-season hype up. All right, I'm going to kick things off with a bit of a rundown of where all the characters ended up at the end of last season. So our girl Emily, she is moving from Paris to Rome. It's like she doesn't know the name of the show, and she's going on her little Italian adventure. So Agents Gratto, the place that she works, the PR firm, they've landed a 6-month contract with Umberto Muratori, and they are like this luxurious cashmere producing company, and they've landed this contract. So she's going there to run the Italian leg of the company. And of course, because Emily is who she is, her personal life and her professional life have to be intertwined. So she is also in a relationship with Marcello, who is the son, the heir to the Kashmir Empire. And conveniently, she's now going to be in Italy with him. At the end of the episode, they ride off into the sunset on a Vespa. I mean,
living out our dreams, really.
Every girl's dream. It's a Hilary Duff moment. I also love the moment where he didn't know about
Lizzie
Hilary
McGuire.
Duff. He's like, what movie is that?
Red flag, honestly.
It is a red flag. So we know that this contract with the Muratori company is 6 months, and the condition is Emily is going to stay in Rome to run the account. So a little bit open-ended there, I guess, as to how long she is going to be in Rome.
Yeah, she's a nightmare for the visa department, but anyway.
And so her bestie Mindy came to Italy to visit her, of course, because she also hops all around the world. She has broken up with Nicola, and she did a street performance in Rome of her new song that she's written, Beautiful Ruins, and that went viral, which led to Chinese pop star calling her and saying, why don't you come and be a judge? So she was leaving to go back to Shanghai, and a lot of people were really worried she wasn't going to come back for season 5, but she is coming back. So I'm guessing. Thank God. What would we do without our little
we need Mindy
interludes? So luckily she is coming back, but she's currently on her way to China in Emily in Paris.
In the universe. Okay.
In the universe. Obviously, we have to talk about the 3 men in Emily's life. So Gabriel, Alfie, and Marcello. So we all sort of thought we'd take one of them and catch you up as to where they're at and the likelihood that we think they have of winning Emily's heart. I'm not going to say who assigned who was going to take control of which man here, but I somehow ended up with my favorite.
Somehow.
So do you want to take us away with leading French heartthrob chef man Gabriel, Tina?
Yes, I'm going to paint quite a picture of this man because I think that he is the star of this series personally. If you lived in Australia and obviously many other parts of the world in 2020, we were in a lockdown or restrictions of sorts. So we weren't going anywhere. We weren't doing anything. We were not having romantic rendezvous of our own. We were not having fashion-forward moments in the streets or catching up with cool co-workers. We were at home.
Speak for yourself here.
We were not. And by we, I mean me. And then this show comes just out of the woodwork and it gives us all of that beautiful travel and romance and this saccharine sweetness that was just ridiculous but so much fun. And at the heart of that was just the most beautiful French man to ever exist. And his name was Gabriel and he was played by Lucas Bravo. He wore a nice little French apron. What do they wear when they cook? A little chef suit.
Button-up, yeah.
He wore a button-up suit. He had blonde hair. Who knew blonde men could be hot? And I mean, I say that and I've kind of got the same hair color as him, just for our audio listeners.
Like a sandy kind of.
Sandy, beautiful blonde hair. And he helps random American women. He was a little bit sly because he never really told Emily that, he had a girlfriend. But that's just French, okay? It's all just French.
Okay.
And we
It's
love
just the
Gabriel.
culture.
It's just the culture. But in season 3, we ended on that cliffhanger of Gabriel and Camille's like almost wedding, and then they didn't get married. And where that led us to was that at the start of season 4, 1, he thinks he's going to be a dad. 2, he's single and realizes he can be with Emily. 3, he thinks he's going to get a Michelin star. And that's the kind of like whimsy that we want in Emily in Paris. We want a random man to get a Michelin star. Season 4 for Gabriel, this is what Lucas Bravo said to Netflix. He said he enters with the promise of a Michelin star, being a dad, and his love for Emily because they're both finally single and they can be together. So it's only hope and a bright future ahead of him. In season 4, he had a terrible time because there was miscommunications aplenty. 1, being a fake pregnancy trope. So Camille thought she was pregnant, finds out she's not, and then she's like, you know what, perhaps I will just lie and keep it going. And if time was real in the world of Emily in Paris, she would have given birth in the time that this season takes place. But that doesn't happen and no one notices.
We suspend our disbelief.
We just pretend it's fine. And so he has a fake pregnancy trope. He loses his romance with Emily through miscommunication once again. Nobody on this show knows how to have a conversation. He thought he was going to get a Michelin star earlier in the season, and then it turned out there was a fraud involved, and so he couldn't get his Michelin star, and then later on he gets it. It was a whole back and forth. He got his Michelin star. He realized that he wasn't going to be a dad, but maybe that was something he'd like in the future. And who would he like it with? Emily Cooper. But oh no, she's gone to Rome. So damn it, Emily. So we kind of left off the season for him of like the idea that I think he's going to follow Emily to Rome, and it's all going to be very exciting. But Lucas said that at the end of the season, it's the most mature he's ever been. I don't know that fans really believe or buy that.
I don't see that at all.
He thinks he's very focused and he's going to go to war for what he wants. So it seemingly ends with him like probably going to Rome to get the girl, but the fans didn't really like that.
No, we did not.
The fans were not happy. Chelsea leading the charge. She's probably the one in the TikTok comments. The thing that we saw over and over again was people saying like the real problem is Gabriel. They don't understand why like every time Emily gets a happy ending, he comes back to destroy it. My favorite one was, why does Gabriel suddenly look like Kristoff from Frozen? So there were also so much commentary on his hair. Very unfair. I think he looked beautiful. But regardless of the fact that a lot of people aren't really happy with him and they don't really like him, I think he's going to be the winner for one obvious reason. This is Darren Star.
He's like the Mr. Big.
He is the Mr. Big. He is like every single time that Darren does one of these like girl in a big city tropes where she's got her career and her dreams and her love interests, the pilot episode, the person that the main character likes, same with Younger, same with Sex and the City, that is who they end up with. So I think that we're going to see her end up with Gabrielle. And so I'm rooting for a winner. I don't really care if he's a problematic guy. I'm here for the winning story arc. That's my personal opinion.
And then he may die on a Peloton if Sex and the City is anything to go by.
I don't think
hope.
Darren Star, they actually spoke about that with Vulture last year, and he was like, Peloton wanted to advertise with Emily in Paris and it fell through. And he was like, maybe they were traumatized from it just like that.
Maybe a treadmill.
Maybe. The thing with Darren Star is that he said that like with Sex and the City, he was really conscious that he wanted the pilot from the get-go to like be the thread that carried them through. So he always wanted it to be Carrie and Mr. Big. And I think he's done that again with us with Emily in Paris. He wants it to be Gabrielle, no matter how problematic and weird they make him. I think they always intended for us to end up back at this man.
Agreed.
I think they are, but I disagree.
I disagree also.
Gabriel is an avoidant king.
Oh,
as
he's
often
crazy.
called on the internet.
Yeah.
He, just casually fathering his ex's baby, or so he thinks, and telling Emily, like, don't worry, we're just going to work it out. Which is why my favorite is beautiful, beautiful Alfie, who also referred to online as the Negging king, but I feel like he negs her affectionately.
I love
with
negging.
love.
It's called British banter. So Alfie waltzed in season 2 and he started calling Emily Cooper in his British accent and stole all our hearts. And they met in French class. He's played by Lucien Labascout. At one point, Mr. Shakira, I don't think they're still together, but I couldn't find any reports of the fact that they'd broken up, but he was with Shakira.
He was in her music video, right? As like a sexy little centaur.
A little sexy shoulder shimmy.
Sexy little centaur. So obviously they meet. Season 3, a lot of that they are together developing their sort of romance arc. And then at the end of season 3, at the wedding between Camille and Gabrielle, he basically is like, I don't want to be second choice Cooper. Like you.
So fair.
So fair.
But I'm like, but you kind of
But
have
also
been
come
the whole
back.
time. Yeah. But also come back. So in season 4, it sort of looks like him and Emily might get back together for a moment, but then it never really takes off, and they quite publicly call it off at the French Open. They're in this marketing campaign together and he's like, I can't do it, Cooper. Can't do it. Anyway, so
Wow.
terrible accent.
I feel like I'm there. Do it again.
I'm going to stop doing it right now. They almost reunite at the masquerade ball later in the season, but it turns out when he's pouring his heart out, he is saying it to a girl who's wearing the same outfit as Emily that's not Emily. Don't you just hate when that happens at masquerade balls?
I think that men should learn to recognize women with masks on. I don't think it's as hard as they all think it is.
Agreed.
It happens in a lot of films.
It happens too much, some might say.
It's a really big problem in our generation.
Yeah.
And then he ends up going for the wrong woman because she's wearing the same outfit as Emily. Doesn't work out. Emily leaves with Gabriel. Emily actually runs into him later in the season outside a church and she's like, hey, Alfie, what you doing here? And he's like, oh, my new girlfriend's in there with her family. We're spending Christmas together. And Emily doesn't even try to play it cool at all. She's got tears fully glistening in her eyes, not keeping it together. And then right at the end of the season, when Emily comes out, she's moved to Rome, Mindy sort of reveals that to Gabrielle, and Gabrielle's spiraling about it to Alfie because they have this weird bromance that I never really understood that developed in the show. And Alfie's the one actually actively encouraging Gabrielle to go get your girl. He actually says a beautiful line, you're letting your pride and understanding get in the way of the world's greatest girl. We both did. Stop thinking, start feeling. You still have a chance to get her back.
Wow.
But that line reading is so much like he still has those feelings
No,
too.
100%.
Why are we calling her the greatest girl in the world? You have a girlfriend. She's inside.
I know. It's kind of like, are you saying you're over it or are you saying you're still harboring a lot of deep-seated feelings?
I think
for
he's
her?
harboring a lot of deep-seated feelings.
Yeah.
He's back in the mix, I think.
And
in
he
season
still
two.
thinks
reckon?
he's
Yeah.
like not good enough or that she'll never love him enough. Like that was his whole thing in breaking up with her was that like, oh, you don't pick me, so I'm just going to excuse myself from the situation.
He's really Meredith Grey. He's like, pick me, choose me, love me. But yeah, so it pretty much ends up at the end of season 4 where it's looking like the love triangle is going to be Gabrielle and Marcello. But I agree with you, Chelsea. I think there's a good chance Alfie could just shimmy his way back into the mix.
I mean, he's still a series regular, so I'm thinking, you know.
Yeah, and he's a bit of a fan favorite. I think online a lot of people do think he was the best sort of boyfriend candidate for her. He is very loyal. He's not side-eyeing his ex constantly and living in the same apartment as her. So
true.
Just some things that a girl looks for in a man.
Yeah.
Do you want to take us through our Italian king, Chelsea?
I will say this was placed upon me. Marcello is not my choice.
I wonder
He
who did
is a
that.
choice. So to me, this is how I see it. Gabrielle to me is trash, but I think he's endgame.
Yes.
Alfie is like the dream, but I don't think he's endgame. Marcello is both boring and not endgame. I'm sorry.
But he's got a great accent.
He's got a great accent. He's lovely. He's like a hot man. He's very rich. He comes from generational wealth. Like
Yeah,
real.
that's important.
Yes,
That
it's
is
important.
important.
He buys her like fancy scarves. They ride around together on his Vespa. He's lovely. I just think for this show and for TV, he's just too vanilla.
Yeah.
There's no real
Too perfect.
edge to him. A little bit too perfect. And I
Yeah.
feel like that's sort of to contrast what we've seen with her and Gabrielle so far. I will say people are kind of sick of the love triangle, the back and forth and
Yeah.
how messy it is. And I think this was kind of like an overcorrection of that when Marcello is like the perfect, simple, very open about his feelings kind of guy. So season 4, he rescues Emily at the top of a mountain where Gabrielle leaves her and chases after Camille.
Classic.
Classic.
Classic, but also if you thought your ex was pregnant with your baby, you would go help her. That whole thing was crazy, but I digress. Continue.
Emily can't ski. You can't leave a girl who can't ski.
He didn't say a thing. He just zoomed off. She's like, what?
Like,
what am I
good luck,
supposed to do? See ya. So, yep, he appears out of nowhere, helps her down the mountain like, you know, a shining white knight. They kind of part ways. Her and Gabrielle break up. She reconnects with Marcello and sparks are kind of flying. They spend time together in Paris and then he's got to leave to Rome. He immediately flies her out to Rome to
Yeah,
meet
that's
his
old money
family.
bags, yeah.
That is old money moves.
Gabrielle could not afford to do that.
No, he could not. I will say though, introducing someone to your family a week into knowing them.
He's
was
Italian,
a lot for
it's
me. I don't
different.
know. Okay. So she meets his family. There's a bit of a misunderstanding because Sylvie shows up and he's now under the impression that Emily's only spending time with him so that Agence Granteau can obtain his family's brand as a client, which they do end up doing. So I'm like, maybe he was right. And then in the end, they kind of figure out the miscommunication and they start dating and presumably working together in the future, which is very on brand for the
Yeah,
show.
she loves to blend her personal
She
life
loves
with her
it.
professional.
Yeah, she
so-
struggles to acquire accounts that don't involve the men in her
That's so
life.
true.
She's like, have I kissed them? Sorry, we can't work with them.
Darren Star spoke a little bit about Marcello in that he said, I wanted to bring in a new love interest for Emily that would feel like a fresh start after all the drama with Gabriel. Marcello comes into Emily's life in an unexpected way and opens the door to so many possibilities for Emily. New country, new culture, new adventure. So that does make me wonder if do you think most of the season will be her and Marcello in Italy, or do you think she will sort of flock back to Paris?
I think she will flock back to Paris, but I think the first part of this season will be in Rome. I think they're going to really build on that. But that's what leads me to believe that this is more of like a filler relationship where we're kind of getting a little bit of a break from the mess of Gabrielle. And then in the end, she's gonna come back and be with him.
All right, so we're all on the same page in that Gabrielle got some problems, but she's going to end up with him.
Correct.
Yeah. I mean, Darren Star said, he was like, life takes Emily in a lot of unexpected directions. That doesn't mean they still may not have a chance to be together. When people are meant to be together, they find their way. And that was about Gabrielle, not Alfie.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the phenomenon that is this show in general, because I think people write this show off as a lot more flippant and fluffy than it is. I know that it is a bit of escapism, but I think there's more to it, so I do object to that commentary. One thing that I absolutely love about Emily in Paris is it does deliver very sharp commentary on cultural differences. And I love seeing that dichotomy of, it really nails the American in Europe trope. And we see Emily as this real hustle culture sort of, her whole vibe is, I'm going to be doing the most all the time. And that just is so stark in comparison to the very languorous French approach. They really enjoy the slower pace of life. They're taking these long lunches. They don't understand why this American girl can't put work aside for 2 seconds and enjoy an event. So Emily really embodies that sort of hustle culture that we love to hate, but I think everybody sees themselves a little bit in. When you guys are watching it, do you find as though you're getting annoyed with Emily for the way she presents herself? Or do you find yourself being like, that's relatable, I wouldn't be able to just chill in this more European way of life?
As someone who works in social media, I think I found the first season a little bit irritating because they'd be like, Emily, what can we do for this campaign? And she'd be like, put a bed in the street. And everyone would be like, wow, she's a genius. No one's ever thought of this before. And
you're like, my work doesn't say that.
I was like, we don't have a budget. What are you talking about? We can't put beds in streets. I think I just found it a little bit like, oh, here she comes again with her great idea. She saved the day. But I liked it. Like, I enjoy seeing it. I obviously was like, this is stupid and not real. But I had a great time. I think like sometimes you can just enjoy silly things or silly moments and like fun and whimsy. It's okay.
Yeah, I agree. I also think the show is quite self-aware because I would agree. Yes. Season 1, there was quite a lot of criticism around how they portrayed French people and French culture, and Emily's like coming in as the savior to be like, oh, we should do this. Yeah. But I feel like they really took that feedback on in the later seasons where they're not portraying French culture in a negative way. It's more kind of making fun of the way Emily is amongst this new culture.
Yeah, it's that contrast that they're really playing into. And because they've hyped her up to be this ultimate outgoing, frenzied person, it just seems even more stark than it already is.
Yeah. And there's this thing around the world, like with tourists, where it's like, oh, like if you go somewhere, like don't go to the Eiffel Tower. That's what tourists do. You have to live like the French do. And it's like, well, I'm a tourist, so I'm going to go to the Eiffel Tower. And he's kind of applied that, Darren Star, to like the season as a whole, like of that first season. Like she's fun and she's whimsical and she's wearing a beret and she's like eating a baguette and she doesn't understand their ways of life and they're all like, you're a loser. And it's like, yes, she's an American in Paris. Like she's going to be.
Yeah, it's in the title,
It's in the title.
One thing that I also think about a lot in watching Emily in Paris is that obviously this is a very female-geared show. It's romance, it's fashion, it's the girlies in Paris. And I was trying to think of what the male equivalent of a quote-unquote fluff show would be. What I landed on through my research, not having actually seen it, is Entourage. Have you?
Oh, yeah. 100%.
I thought you'd be across this because you watch every show that there is ever. And so am I right in saying Entourage is basically this glossy, silly, wish fulfillment fantasy about young guys living the dream in Hollywood with not a lot of critical depth, but it was somehow didn't get this trope of being branded as fluffy. I feel like people saw it as quite cool and aspirational. What are your thoughts on that?
I would remove the word whimsy because because it was really just the boys. And like
The boys.
It was like the men on the town and oh, she's hot. And we're doing it in a different way. We're doing it in a whimsical way. Isn't Gabrielle so pretty? Those are different things for sure. No, those shows are so similar. It's like career hustle in this silly way. Like it's like aspirational to like make it in the industry is similar to what she's kind of do. I think you've nailed it there. I think that's such a good comparison. And no, I don't think Entourage was dismissed as like, it was certainly not seen as like a highbrow drama.
No.
But it was also not seen as like silly.
I don't think I saw the phrase guilty pleasure thrown
No,
around.
we're
quite
not
as
calling
much.
men's TV shows guilty pleasures, are we?
No, well, maybe we should start.
Maybe we should. Let's do it here.
Well, the other thing about Emily in Paris is the way we look at female ambition is quite interesting because Emily is constantly mocked for being too enthusiastic. She's too bright. She's too much of a hustler. She's too focused on her job. Everyone's like, can you just chill out a little bit? I do feel if she was a male protagonist, it potentially would be a little bit different. And one of the parallels in my mind is Mike Ross from Suits.
Yeah.
Because he is a little bit of a hustler. He can be a little bit annoying. He's, the guy you root for. He's the prodigy who's coming up with these amazing ideas that somehow nobody's thought of before. I mean, that man broke the law to succeed.
He's committing literal felonies to do his job.
It's illegal.
It's
But
fun.
he is cute. Yeah.
And I don't think he gets branded with that same, you're annoying, you're cringe. Obviously, it is a different show, but I think when I was trying to think of how we view ambition in the lens of this show compared to other shows that are, I suppose, less fully female geared in the way that Emily in Paris is, Mike Ross is sort of that example that came to mind.
Yeah, it almost feels like female ambition. And also, I think of Carrie Bradshaw a little bit in the sense that like a worst thing a woman can do is one, be ambitious or cheat. Whereas there are men who are one, literally breaking the law, doing terrible things and we don't care.
Yeah.
It is interesting.
Yeah, and like then going from like Carrie, like obviously she then worked up to Vogue and she was more of a career lady as well as having her column. We also saw then Darren Star make Younger, which took place in like a publishing house. He does these like now with Emily in like PR. He does these really great like workplace, also like ambitious women in workplaces. I wouldn't say comedy or drama. I don't know what he does. I call it a comedy. Yeah. But like he does these plot lines really well where yes, there's romance and yes, there's like friendship tension and there's all of these really real character traits and things they're going through. But we also get to see the professional lives and ambitions of women. And like not a lot of people are doing that anymore. I think he does a phenomenal job of it. So it is annoying when people dismiss it as like fluff or stupid.
Yeah, and one thing that Darren Star does so well, and he's talked about it himself, is creating that world that you want to be immersed in. It looks so fun. It's so colourful.
Yeah.
He said, when I find a new idea that I love and a great cast and a world that I want to live in, I just want to write about it and keep going. This is the richest one yet in terms of how everyone has evolved. I don't know if I agree with that last bit. That was him talking about Emily in Paris, but I do get that vibe from him as the creator that he just wants to keep making more seasons because it's so damn fun to be a part of.
Yeah.
I think also what he's saying is Emily in Paris is so aspirational.
Yeah.
Of all the shows that he's made, I feel like. And that really comes through in every way, including the fashion. And I think that plays a huge role in why the show is so popular. The fashion is obviously, like the show, widely loved and also widely mocked. Everyone's like, oh, Emily's not fashionable. Like she wears like crazy stuff. Or like how could she ever afford all these like luxury items? But that's part of it. I think of Carrie Bradshaw and why Sex and the City really took off is that it's realism, but like, is it really? It's kind of part fantasy and they really lean into that. Like, do we really want to watch Emily walking around in Zara? Like, no. We want her to be wearing the crazy clothes and the big brands. And Patricia Field, who famously was the costume designer on Sex and the City, is the same costume designer on Emily in Paris. She also turned down And Just Like That because she was working on Emily in Paris, which is a big deal.
Yeah.
Back when Sex and the City was airing, there was still a lot of criticism around how Carrie could afford the wardrobe that she had and how unrealistic that was, her working at this like mid-tier newspaper, writing like one column a week. And at the time, Patricia Field's response was really like, why would we want reality? Like we want magic. Like that's what we want. The same thing applies to Emily in Paris, where it is aspirational. We want Emily's outfits to be over the top and chaotic and really mismatched because that's really why they work.
Yeah. In an interview with Vulture last year, Darren Star was asked about like the show being out of touch and people perceiving it that way. And it's literally what you just said. He was like, I was intending to make a show that was aspirational. He's like, I wanted to create an entertaining show about like when he was 19 years old and he went to Paris and he spent the summer in Europe backpacking and fell in love with the city. He wanted to like bring that magic to life. You don't bring it to life by, like wearing Zara, wearing H&M. Like she's in Paris, put the girl in some designer. Like even if it's a Kangol bucket hat, fine by me.
Yeah, she needs to be out there. It leans into the escapism of it all.
Yeah.
And I always wonder watching it whether the cultural impact of Emily in Paris in that, there is that trope in Australia of either in your early 20s or when you turn 30, you go to London, you have that whole little trip abroad or spent a couple years there working. I have wondered if this show has led to a pivot to Paris because everyone's picturing themselves now in these designer outfits under the Eiffel Tower.
I would say in pop culture, though, there is, and Tina can probably speak to this, but about Paris as like an entity in television shows or people going to Paris or not going to Paris for love, and it just being this like romantic fantasy that we've all had in our minds for years.
Yeah, obviously one of the most iconic being like Rachel going to Paris in Friends. That was such a big storyline and it really spoke to like that dreaminess of like the big fashion opportunity. And then, I mean, even this year, one of the biggest shows of the year of this decade, The Summer I Turned Pretty, it's all about Belly's escape to Paris. Escape from Jeremiah, my God, lucky escape. Yeah, through drama, through comedy, even into like reality TV. Lauren Conrad, the girl who didn't go to Paris.
Seriously.
Like, yeah, it's obviously where London is, that exciting city, and so is New York. They're like the big cities. Like Paris is the one for romance and love and adventure. And we keep saying the word whimsical, but I'm going to keep saying it till I'm dead because that is this show. It is all about like that whimsical magic that you can experience. And if you don't get to experience, then you get to go with Emily. So yeah, why would you want to see Emily do it half-assed? Like we want her to live the most ridiculous life possible.
And we want her to never leave.
And we want her to never
go
leave.
back to
I would watch
Chicago.
like 50 seasons of this show if they kept doing it, honestly.
And I would never watch her in Chicago.
No.
And he kind of said, Darren, he's like, with every show he's done, because he's done so many, like if you don't know, like he was the creator of Beverly Hills 90210 and Melrose Place and like obviously, yes, Sex and the City, younger. But he said this is the most over the top, the one with the craziest fashion, the wildest settings, but at the heart of it, and I know we're questioning this a little bit, he's like, these are the most complex characters he's ever done in his opinion. Like these are the characters with the narrative stories that he's like, that's what's keeping it grounded. Like even if you have all of this craziness of her going to Rome and time not being real and masquerade balls and all of these other things that are going on and designers like splashing paint and being in newspapers, it's still, do I like this guy? Oh, he's got another girlfriend. Oh, like my visa might run out and I have to go back to Chicago. Like there's still human stories in the middle of it, even if it is a little bit ridiculous at times.
I mean, as the host of The Spill, Laura Brodnick would say, the show really holds a mirror.
It holds a mirror up to our worst traits.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked about where all the characters are, but let's talk a little bit about what's been happening with the cast in real life. Because one thing that really cut me up a little bit, and all my friends who watch Emily in Paris, was Ashley Park, who plays Mindy Chen's Breakup, because she was together in real life with Paul Foreman, who plays Nicolas, and they have reportedly broken up after nearly 2 years of dating.
So sad, but so convenient that he's gone from the show.
Yeah, thank God.
Very interesting.
Could you imagine having had to do that? Yuck. Okay.
No awkward at work
Apologies.
run-ins.
Back to the real romance, though. They were a beautiful couple. So I was very upset about that. I thought they were like endgame.
They really were.
Yeah.
And, they met on the set of season 3 in 2022 and then they made their romance public in 2024. Ashley had this big health scare and hospitalization. So it started out as tonsillitis when she was on holiday in the Maldives and then it spiraled into septic shock. And he was really there for her. And I remember seeing her put up this Instagram post being like, grateful most of all to @Paul Foreman for being unconditionally by my side. I love you.
I love them.
Yeah.
And I think everyone, this show is so much about escapism and what adds to escapism but a layer of shipping your favorite couples
in
IRL.
real life. Oh, God.
Quite interesting. I hated them together on the show, but
Me
I
too.
loved them as like a real life couple.
I never liked his character.
No.
Like, didn't like their vibe. But as real people, they just seemed really sweet and lovely.
Yeah. Agree.
Well, interestingly, the chemistry, I would say, between those two characters, as you say, not something amazing in Emily in Paris on the show, but apparently their chemistry in real life was popping from the get-go because Lily Collins has said their chemistry was off the damn charts. She clocked it really early. Ashley denied it. She was like, Lily saw the chemistry and was like, what's going on? And I said, nothing. I told you I wasn't dating actors. And then she says she did a loss of dignity tour admitting, Lily, everyone, we are so in love. I think everyone can relate to that when you vehemently denied something and then you have to be like, I was wrong. But yeah, it seems as though they've split. Neither of them have made any public statements, but Ashley did go to Selena Gomez and Benny Blanco's wedding alone.
Solo.
Not to say you can't go to a wedding solo if you have a partner, but this is just adding to the fuel that people are pretty sure they're over.
Speculation. Oh, I'm sad about that.
I'm sad too.
So while we're on the real life cast and what they've been up to, Chelsea, I know you have some thoughts on Lucas Bravo has been, yapping a little about his
running his
character.
mouth.
What's he been saying?
My Emily in Paris WhatsApp group hate Gabriel. But no one hates Gabriel more than Lucas Bravo.
So true.
He's said a lot over the years, I would say. So he's complained about not having much creative freedom to do what he wants with the character. He said he doesn't really get the character anymore. He has a quote saying, "I tried for seasons to bring nuances, but we don't have much liberty on set. We cannot change a word or emotion." So
shady.
So shady. And he's also said that they spend 5 months filming this show, and does he really want to spend time doing something that doesn't really excite him anymore? So clearly he's kind of checked out of this character a little bit. And I do think it's very interesting that we do see many male actors kind of feel this way about projects that really put them on the map, and particularly projects that really gear towards women and girls.
Pats in Twilight, maybe?
Pats in Twilight, Jacob Elordi in The Kissing Booth.
Yeah.
And they really don't get as much backlash as I think they should. But when women do it, I remember Katherine Heigl doing this years ago, obviously with Knocked Up. She made some comments about it being a little bit sexist, which I mean, like, fair enough.
Yeah.
She made some comments about Grey's Anatomy and the writing not being great one particular season. And she got so much backlash.
Yeah.
I mean, she didn't really work for 10 years,
Yeah.
really out of the spotlight for just saying what she thought about a show that she was on.
And giving quite nuanced opinions too, whereas the boys are often quite silly. Like Jacob Elordi with The Kissing Booth is like, "Oh, I didn't see it." You didn't see your own movie? Oh, okay. And everyone's like, "He's so funny. I love him."
So quirky.
Yeah.
I think he's also like, "Oh, it was ridiculous. Like, I didn't really want to be in it." I'm like, "Well, then why were you in it?"
Yeah.
Well, also, they're
apologies
saying all
for
that.
launching your career.
Yeah.
God.
Crazy.
And they're saying that retrospectively. I mean, he's saying, Lucas Bravo is saying all this while he's still going into another season
Getting
starring
his
on this
cashing
show.
that check,
Yeah.
but you know,
It's
complaining
almost
about
like
it.
he's fighting for his character, Lucas. And like, I wonder if they'll be a bit stressed about it, because I think Lucas is like the rest of us. So many people thought Gabriel was like, as much as he had a love triangle, they found him charming. They found him lovable in season 1. And then they feel like his character has just, I don't know, fallen off a cliff. They don't
Yeah.
understand what's happened to him. And it's like Lucas is like the number one.
Me too, guys.
He's leading your group chat into Darren Star's office, and he's like, "Fix my character." And it's obviously not working. So he's taking it to the streets. He's taking it to like Vox Pops and interviews, because he did an interview where he said, and this is kind of off the back of what you've said, he was filming the scene where like Genevieve kissed him in season 4. And in the interview, he was like, "Oh, I was playing it kind of like, he's not wanting this. He's like, I love Emily. I'm actively want to be with Emily. Why would I enjoy this?" And the director was like, "No, stop. He's meant to be a bit curious and a bit excited." And Lucas was like, Why? And he was like, "So whatever, I tried." Like, he's so clearly like over it that he's announcing to the general public, like, "I tried, guys.
I also
I don't know what you want."
Same vein, I have the theory that he refused to cut his hair because he does look, let's be honest, like
Well,
very
shaggy.
disheveled in season
It is
4.
giving Kristoff from Frozen.
It's giving Kristoff. And I think he's just sick of it. And he's like, "I'm not going
Yeah.
to cut my hair." But season 5, we have seen the promotional pictures. Season 1, Gabriel is back. Short hair. He's looking clean. He's looking
Dapper.
good.
He's
so
looking good.
I think we're coming back.
Do we think they've had a word with him, or has he had a word with them and they've worked out how to like maybe make his character more lovable again, so he's willing to play ball?
The hair is number 1.
They've got a PR genius, much like Emily, sort of spearheading this. Of like, how do we
She's
make
like,
Gabriel
"Guys, I've
great?"
solved it. Let's cut his hair."
Regardless of what he said, Lucas Bravo is returning in season 5. But there is one key character who isn't returning in season 5.
Yeah.
Tina, who is it?
It's Camille Rizat, who plays also Camille.
Cammy playing Cammy.
Camille. And she was quite similar to Lucas last season when it aired. She was also in the press giving interviews like, "Don't know what's going on, don't understand it." She gave this quote to Vogue of, "I'm going to be very honest, I feel really disconnected from her this season. I really don't understand her anymore. I wish for her to be happy." Like that. Like, she just was so like
Over
Lucas
it.
going, "What the hell have you done to my character? Who is this woman?" And obviously decided that being on the show was no longer something that she wanted to do. In an interview with Deadline, Darren Star kind of said that she was written off the show because her story kind of had a natural finish. Obviously, we know that like by the end of season 4, it was revealed that she'd had like a false pregnancy with Gabriel. But on her own Instagram, she said that like her exit was by design. She was like, she was ready to part ways with Netflix over the show. She wrote about all of her other projects coming up. So similar to Lucas, probably like these sorts of shows take up your whole life really. So if you're going to be on it and it's not fulfilling, I guess you might decide it's time to leave.
I could make it work. A few months in Paris. I don't know. It looks pretty fun.
Wouldn't be me. I'd be having the time of my life. Like, I'd be a background extra on that show and I'd go, let's do a decade.
Give me the baguette in the background.
Yeah, but she did say that the character's meant a lot to her. She just feels like the story's come to an end and it's time for her to do something else. But I think she's not fully closing the door. Like, maybe she'd make a cameo in season 7. Who knows?
I'll miss Camille, actually.
Yeah.
I know it's contentious, but I really love her.
Style
Yeah.
icon.
Yeah, a style icon for sure.
And
Yeah.
she's so quintessentially French.
Yeah.
In the best way.
She's so cool. And I've seen so many fans kind of feel what you feel of like that thing of like, I really loved her before they seemed to ruin her character.
Yep.
Like season 1, gorgeous girl, was rooting for her, was not rooting for Emily Cooper.
No.
No, absolutely not. Well, we know she's not coming back, but let's talk about what we do know going into the new season, because we know there's a new guy on the block. He is Jake. He's another American living in Paris, not to steal Emily's thunder, played by Brian Greenberg of One Tree Hill and Bride Wars fame. Chelsea, what do we know about this character, and what do you think is going to happen with him?
We don't know a whole lot about him. I will say Brian Greenberg, a hunk. Can we agree?
The most beautiful man to ever do it.
Yeah.
But it's hard when you're up against the likes of your Gabriels, your Alfies. Like, it's steep competition.
It's not hard for me
No.
and Chelsea. I think we know the answer.
He's hot.
He's gorgeous.
Yeah. In Bride Wars, he plays this like journalist at working. Is it the New York Magazine? I can't remember. But he's this like big journalist and he's very sensitive and sweet.
Yeah, and the girlies will, remember him from like One Tree Hill if they watched it. He's in the Mindy project at one point. Yeah, this is his new moment to shine.
Yeah, he's one of those actors that I think deserves to be
a bit of a bigger deal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a much bigger deal. We don't know a lot about him. My prediction is that he is going to be a little bit of a new love interest, not endgame necessarily.
You think?
Yes, I reckon he's going to be a bit of a work rival. It's going to be a bit of an enemies to lovers arc where like they clash. He's kind of very assimilated into French culture. Emily is still kind of trying to do that. So they're kind of butting heads and then they kind of work together and figure it out and maybe something, you know.
So you see them more in the French setting together than the Italian
Yes.
office. Interesting.
Well, he's an
Okay.
American living in Paris.
Yeah,
So I feel
true.
like she's going to head back to Paris.
Yeah, there's been some set photos of them like where like he's in a suit, she's in like a work outfit. So I feel like, we're going to get some good like professional clashes. I'm on your wavelength. I do think if we look at this in the scope of I guess his other shows that he's done, 6, 7 seasons, whatever they may be. Like if we're on season 5 and he wants to keep it going and he doesn't want to do this love triangle thing every 5 seconds, but he has an end game in mind, we're going to have
New love interests.
New things that happen. So I think it's a really interesting, like maybe this is her Aiden from Sex and the City. Maybe this is her storyline for that. Who could say?
Parallel.
I love that.
But like, you know, you need a little something fresh and I'm excited for that.
In terms of other, I guess, season 5 predictions, I think a lot of fans do want a bit of an Alfie redemption arc because he didn't get a lot of time in season 4.
Beautiful boy.
Yeah, we want to see him come back. I don't know if that's going to be in a romantic sense. I don't know if there'll be a spin-off one day like Alfie in Athens. Alfie goes to Alaska. I don't know.
Alaska.
But I did read a crazy fan theory because I love to get into the little Reddit threads of Emily in Paris and see what the crazy people are saying. I mean, the crazy people that I identify with. I'm one of you. And I did read one about how Alfie turns into a full-on villain arc post-breakup, and he is it was written as brooding Brit hacks Emily's Insta for full revenge scandal, then proposes marriage as final ultimatum in airport scene. Fans meme him as Brexit Bond villain.
I mean, I'm not mad about that.
Where has this come from?
It was late at night. Me and my community were up thinking about what could be coming.
Okay, so the theory is that like he's just going to become a bit of a villain and like a Bond villain style, and he's going to like hack her professional career.
Yes, I just
Okay.
pictured him sort of logging on, going live,
Yes.
like saying problematic things. Then he's like, "Take me back."
Kind of like last time when like Camille's brother was like on TikTok being
Yes,
like they broke
slandering
up.
her.
Okay, so she's going to be slandered
But
more.
the final ultimatum confuses me. So he's going to be like,
Take me back, or I won't give you the login.
Oh, emotional blackmail, always
Oh,
good. Yeah, that
yeah.
seems like an Emily in Paris situation.
I do want to get on the front foot and say this is not what I think is going to happen.
Okay.
It's just something
Just a
that I
fan
thought was
theory.
funny.
Okay.
Something exciting might happen though, because he spoke to People magazine like literally very recently. And he said, I think this season we'll see a different side of Alfie. Could be an evil side, who could say for sure. But he said it was maybe a more adventurous side. But he said, Alfie's out there, you know, I just want to tell you guys I'm holding back. So he was holding back from People mag. He didn't want to spill the tea, but he said, it's crazy. I think there's always a kind of scope in the Emily in Paris universe for anything to happen.
The big twist that has happened in the trailer is that we see Alfie and Mindy share what seems like a pretty steamy moment. It basically looks like they're dancing and they don't quite kiss, but it looks like they're about to, so not quite sure what's happening there. But it does seem like he's getting his own real plotline this season.
The producers, I feel like, have really clocked on to the fact that people love Alfie. I think the online discourse is that we like him, he's here to stay.
Because it would be nice to keep him around, like if they're not going to end up together, but you also don't want him to stick around if the whole time it's just going to be
him being wronged.
Him being in love with her and being let down. Like you kind of want him to have a nice, like maybe he just becomes a side character you've said. And then they spend this season, new haircut, fixing Gabriel, but not romantically. Like he just has his own arc and then we eventually get there.
I think you're right.
We should be in the room.
Yeah. I could weirdly see him almost going on a similar character journey that Hugh Grant sort of was on in the second Bridget Jones, and he like goes to some, I don't know, I could weirdly also see him being scouted as like a travel TV presenter. He's this like Brit in Paris and he starts filming these segments.
Yeah, banking to tourism, why not?
Put a lot of thought into this man's character development. Probably none of it will see the light of day. But
you're on his personal LinkedIn page being like career opportunities for hot Brits in Paris.
Exactly. Well, one other thing I've been thinking about a lot is how much time do we think she's actually going to spend in Paris? Because obviously we've discussed how she's now in Rome, but I just do feel like this show is all about Emily in Paris. And I mean, Emmanuel Macron, the French president, was most upset when he found out that Emily would be leaving Paris. He said in his Variety interview last year, "We will fight hard and we will ask them to remain in Paris. Emily in Paris in Rome doesn't make sense." But Rome's mayor clapped back and said, "Take it easy, Emmanuel Macron. Emily in Rome is perfect." So
funny.
I mean,
I love the geopolitical discourse this show starts. It's very important. It has depth. And it's so funny that, like what you were saying earlier, like French people reacted, well, some French people, not all, reacted quite poorly to Emily in Paris as like this mischaracterization of their people. And like they're allowed to think that. But then the French president is coming out and being like, "Come back, please. We need the tourism money.
You're a really big part of us now, actually.
You're a really big part of our culture."
So do you guys think we are going to maybe see the first few episodes in Rome and then something brings her back to Paris?
Yeah, I reckon she'll be back and forth. I mean, what is it, a couple hours flight? Maybe we should map that one out, hop on the Google Maps. But I do think she'll be back and forth.
I think that too. I also, maybe future seasons we can have like based in Paris. I would watch like Emily in Tokyo, Emily in Seoul.
Where else can
Emily
we
in
send
New York?
Emily?
Like, I don't know. It's
Take the show on the road.
Yeah.
Just not Chicago, thank you.
Just not Chicago.